let you answer it and then put you on the spot. So if you don't want to be embarrassed, please turn down your cell phones to silence. If you would be so kind, we will stand for the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, you sent your Son among us to proclaim the kingdom of God in cities, towns, villages, and lonely places. Behold and visit, we pray, Lee County and its neighboring communities. Renew the bonds of charity that uphold our civic life. Send us honest and able leaders. Deliver us from poverty, prejudice, and oppression, that peace may prevail with righteousness and justice with mercy. And at last, bring us to your holy city, where we shall know perfect unity and peace through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have your agenda before you, and there's two requests to move item 6A, which is the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Sanford and the County of Lee and the County of Lee Transit System, as well as the resolution supporting the MOU. And item 6B, software update for the Lee County Transit System. It's been asked to move those to the consent agenda. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the MOU between Sanford and Lee County, do we have anything? I think we had talked. I'd like to keep that off the consent agenda.
Okay, that'd be fine. Any questions on 6B?
No, thank you.
Okay, the motion's been made to approve 6B, move it to the consent agenda.
And I would, if I may, just on 6B, since it's the software, that's just contingent, of course, on A passing.
Oh,
Okay, does that make sense?
yes, it makes
Okay.
sense.
That's fine.
Any other discussion? So in lieu of, so that being said, we'll move 6B to the consent agenda contingent on 6A.
Passing, right? Because we won't need the
Okay,
software packet.
probably we'll just leave it.
Okay.
Let's just leave it. We can't say one and not the other. All right, never mind. Moving on. Any other changes to the agenda? Yeah, we're not putting it on the consent agenda. Neither item.
What's the problem with it? I'm sorry? I didn't hear the problem with,
The question was on the MOU on item A,
yeah,
and the attorney had instructed us that if we take B and put it on the consent agenda, it is contingent on item A being approved.
So what if you move 6A and 6B to the consent?
That was made earlier, and because 6A is wished to be discussed, we can't put it on the consent
Got it.
agenda.
Okay.
All right. Any other changes, recommendations to the agenda? Seeing none, do I have an approval for the agenda?
So moved.
Motion's been made to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You have the consent agenda as stated. Any comments on the consent agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on, next item is public hearings, a zoning map amendment. Amy McNeil is coming forward.
Good evening, Commissioners, Planning Board, staff, and citizens. This information is on pages 64 through 92 of the Commissioners' agenda packet and on pages 3 through 29 of the Planning Board agenda packet. And I will pause at this time to allow the chairman to open the public hearing and to pose the question regarding any disclosure of conflict of interest.
A governing board member shall not vote on any legislative decision regarding a development regulation adopted pursuant to Chapter 160D, where the outcome of the matter being considered is reasonably likely to have a direct, substantial, and readily identifiable financial impact on the member. A governing board member shall not vote on any zoning amendment if the landowner of the property subject to a rezoning petition or the applicant for a text amendment is a person with whom the member has a close familial, business, or other associational relationship. Does any board member have a conflict?
No.
Seeing there is none, we can continue on, Mrs. McNeil.
Mr. Joe Keith would like to rezone 3.39 acres formerly developed with houses addressed as 3225 and 3229 Hawkins Avenue from light industrial with a conditional use permit to light industrial, and the site is illustrated on the screen behind you, and there are maps included in your agenda packet as well. This rezoning request would eliminate the conditional use permit approved in 1994 that only allows the site to be developed with a self-storage facility and would allow all of the land uses permitted in the light industrial zoning district. Therefore, this rezoning request has been submitted for your consideration. This is a standard general use rezoning request as opposed to a conditional rezoning request. Therefore, no site plan or subdivision plans or building plans are required as part of this rezoning request. The site is in north central Lee County, north of the Hawkins Avenue US 1 traffic circle, and between Beech Tree Drive and Northview Drive. It is south of the Deep River, Northview Optimist Park and ball fields, between Elite Storage at 3313 Hawkins Avenue and Quality Carrier Trucking at 3223 Hawkins Avenue. The existing zoning, and we'll flip to the zoning page, is light industrial with a conditional use permit, and this is identical to the light industrial district except that it limits the development of the property to a specific use. This type of zoning was allowed under the former Lee County zoning ordinance that was replaced by the adoption of the UDO in 2006. It was typically requested when the applicant felt that a standard general use rezoning request that allowed all of the permitted uses in a specific zoning district would be denied and was therefore willing to limit the uses allowed in order to lessen any opposition and better his or her chances of securing board approval. The site plan subdivision plan conditional zoning district now allowed per the UDO is a modern version of this conditional use permit. On April 4th, 1994, the Lee County Board of Commissioners approved a request from Mr. Herb Keith to rezone the subject property from residential agricultural, or RA, to light industrial with a conditional use permit for the location of compartmentalized storage of individual storage of residential and commercial goods with a condition that an 8-foot chain link fence be placed around the perimeter and that the fence be placed 40 feet from the center line of the right-of-way of Sandley Drive. So in '94, this was rezoned to allow only self-storage with a fence around the property. Minutes from the '94 Lee County Planning Board meeting indicate that the board recommended to approve the request and included the following language. The board's majority in its deliberation cited that the property adjoins other property currently zoned light industrial and that the property directly fronts onto Hawkins Avenue, which renders the property unappealing for residential development. The vote was 5-2, with the dissenting board members expressing concern about the development of the site as a storage facility, possibly having a negative impact on a neighboring church, since it would be built directly in front of the church. The property was not developed as a storage facility. Lee County tax records indicate that the house at 3229 Hawkins Avenue was removed from the site in 2012, and the house at 3225 Hawkins Avenue was demolished in 2015. The site remains vacant at this time. The proposed zoning of light industrial is established to provide for areas that contain a mix of light manufacturing uses, office park, and limited retail and service uses that service the industrial uses typically in an attractive in an attractive business park setting. Examples of uses permitted by right in the light industrial zoning district include convenience store with or without gas sales, landscape and garden supplies with or without outdoor storage, and various types of manufacturing facilities. And there is a list of all the permitted uses for both zoning districts within the agenda packet for your reference. Lately, billboards have been a popular land use. Therefore, I would like to mention that billboards are allowed in Lee County within the highway commercial, light industrial, and heavy industrial zoning districts, subject to specific development regulations. Regarding the adjacent zoning, as illustrated on the screen behind you, to the north is highway commercial, to the south is light industrial, to the east is highway commercial and residential agricultural, and to the west is residential agricultural and light industrial. Adjacent land uses, and we'll flip back to the aerial image. To the north, we have a self-storage facility, which is Elite Storage. To the south, we have Quality Carriers, a trucking company. To the east, we have single-family houses and a freestanding ice vending machine, and that's on the opposite side of Hawkins Avenue. To the west, we have a parking area for Quality Carriers, and that's going to be opposite the High Street, Paper Street that you see in there. Regarding local overlay districts, the site is not within a local historic district, a watershed conservation overlay district, or a floodplain. The site, however, is along a roadway that has architectural standards. So if a new building is constructed on this site, there are certain architectural standards that it must have to comply with because it's one of our major roadways. Regarding utilities, per our GIS mapping system, there is a public water main line in the right-of-way of Hawkins Avenue, but there is no public sanitary sewer in this area. Regarding transportation, the area proposed for rezoning has approximately 309 feet of frontage on Hawkins Avenue, which is a DOT-maintained public road with a 100-foot right-of-way width in front of this site. It has approximately 415 feet of frontage on Sanley Drive, and this is north of the site. This is a 60-foot wide mapped right-of-way off of Hawkins Avenue that's developed with a private driveway serving Northview Christian Church. It also has 313 feet of frontage on High Street, which is illustrated to the left or the west of the site. That's a 60-foot wide mapped right-of-way off of Hawkins Avenue that is developed with a private driveway serving Northview Christian Church. The High Street side has a 60-foot right-of-way developed with a private driveway serving a house at 3201 Hawkins Avenue. And this information is per our GIS mapping system. Basically, you can see Hawkins Avenue is the existing public street it has frontage on, and there are some unimproved right-of-ways to the north and the west of this site. There is an NCDOT average annual daily traffic count and from 2023 of 17,000 vehicles per day on Hawkins Avenue, approximately 0.3 of a mile south of the property near Kelly's Auto Repair Shop. If rezoned, all of the uses permitted in the light industrial zoning district would be allowed, and any future redevelopment of the subject property would be required to meet the current development standards of the UDO. Regarding the Plan San Lee, the long-range plan identifies the property as Maker District, which encourages a wide range of small-scale light industrial uses. This includes manufacturing activity uses involving previously prepared materials, products or parts, and may include processing, fabrication, assembly, packaging, incidental storage, sales, and distribution. The local example is the Lee Avenue Rand Street area in the Jonesboro section of Sanford, and there's information regarding the Plan San Lee place type designation included in your agenda packet for reference. Regarding the staff analysis, the Plan San Lee land use designation of Maker District is supportive of light industrial uses. However, it is up to the Board of Commissioners to determine how the county should grow and if they're comfortable with light industrial zoning and land uses at this location. Additional information presented at the public hearing should also be considered in the recommendation and the final decision regarding the requested zoning map amendment. This concludes my staff report. Are there any questions?
Questions for Amy? Commissioner Sharp?
No questions.
Commissioner Reeves?
No questions.
Commissioner Vorbeck?
On the application, I'm not seeing any specific ideas of what the applicant's wanting to do with the land, correct?
Yes, the applicant is here this evening and may be prepared to address that for you. I think he has something in mind. But you need to know that that may be his intention, but it's not legally binding on the land. If you vote to rezone this property to light industrial, any of the land uses permitted in the light industrial district would be allowed.
Okay. I think that's my only question. That, when it comes to that, I mean, I know you mentioned the, oh my gosh. I am blanking
I
on
mentioned that billboards would be allowed.
billboards. Thank you. Here we go. That's not potentially the interest, correct?
It
we
is
know?
potentially the interest, but once again, the applicant is here this evening and he can speak to that.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to hear that one. Thank you.
Commissioner Connect.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lovick.
No questions. Thank you, Ms. Amy.
Commissioner Martin.
No questions, thank you.
Okay. At this time, I wish to open the public hearing on the zoning map amendment for 3.39 acres fronting Hawkins Avenue from light industrial with a conditional use permit to light industrial. Anyone in favor, please come forward to speak. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Joe Keith, and I live at 401 St. Andrews Church Road. I am the owner/manager of Keith Family RA LP LLC, which is a limited liability as far as real estate holdings. And this is the property that originally my father, Linwood Keith, purchased and developed for his own use as a trucking company. But anyway, that's where we stand.
You had a question.
Am I allowed to address it now?
Well, he's
Okay.
the developer, yeah,
Okay.
please.
So I guess my only question is, are you looking to put a billboard on the site?
There's there is a billboard that's being considered on there.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Sharp?
I had no questions.
Okay. Commissioner Reeves? Commissioner Connect? Commissioner Levick? Commissioner Martin? Okay, thank you, sir.
One other thing, just to be clarified too, the billboard is just going to take up a very small footprint. The rest of it, the intent of doing the light industrial is to comply with what North Carolina deemed conditional use is not being used anymore, and just trying to clear that up. So eventually, if there is some other development on it, we don't have to go through this.
Thank you, sir. Anyone opposed? Anyone for? Anyone opposed? Going once, going twice. I've now closed the public hearing. We will now excuse the planning board. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your efforts. Please make sure before you leave, make sure you drive safely, wear your seatbelts, and no speeding. Next item on the agenda is public comments. We have no public comments. Old business, we have no old business. New business, we have a memorandum of understanding between the City of Sanford and the County of Lee. Ms. Knoll.
Good evening, Commissioners. So what you have in front of you tonight, we are asking for approval of the MOU between the county and the City of Sanford. This is as a result of many, many months of hard work in implementing a microtransit project. So as you recall, back in January, we had a workshop where myself and Ms. Davidson, presented to the board microtransit and the idea of working with the City of Sanford, who was awarded $3.4 million from the Mobility for Everyone Everywhere grant. And so the City of Sanford has been working with Lee County staff to plan and implement microtransit. And as you may recall, microtransit is a kind of like a on-demand transit service, where an individual can utilize an app and/or call our call center to have more of an on-demand transportation for established zones within the city of Sanford. In addition, we discussed this as well during the interlocal meeting on April 30th. And on May 6, 2025, the Sanford City Council approved the NCDOT grant application, as well as this MOU, as well as a resolution. So what we are asking for tonight is for your consideration and approval of the MOU. What we will work on moving forward is establishing the hourly rate, the final designated zones, the hours of operations, and any special terms and conditions for rate changes. So this MOU has been drafted by Ms. Davidson and Mr. Montgomery in conjunction with our legal staff, as well as the City of Sanford's legal staff, has also been approved by NCDOT for grant purposes. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. I might have to consult with Ms. Davidson, who is here as well, who has been overseeing this project.
Questions for either Commissioner Martin?
I recall the presentation and am excited about the opportunity that's in front of us with this. Reading through the MOU, my only concern is at the end of that 3-year term, if we were not to, receive that funding back, it's the same situation we find ourselves in with temporary funding. It seems that it would I would like to see there be some ownership of the city having responsibility for this program if they want to run it. It's within the city, it's their grant. So is there a way to put some of that language in this MOU?
I think the language we have in there is that the city would continue to try to look for grant funding. I think that's what we have in here. Apply for any funding carryover or extension of the original grant terms in a timely manner and notify Colts of the application. But I don't know that we can bind the city for anything beyond what the grant money is for. Of course, we're going to own the vans and the software when this is done, and I believe we hope to recover those costs within the first year. So, we're getting that funding back, or that upfront cost back. But I don't think that we can. I don't think we can include that in an agreement. I think that hopefully the relationship will work well, and we can work together. And if the application opens back up, the city will reapply for that funding.
And one other thing that we might add, and I know that Ms. Davidson can speak much more intelligent and educate on this subject matter than I can, but it does open the city of Sanford for opportunities of additional grant funding because we're the turnkey operator. And so they have the potential to have continued funding through NCDOT that we would not be able to apply for. And so the hope is that they will continue to seek those grant fundings to support this effort. Another concept, and I don't know if Ms. Davidson wants to address this, but is we will have to turn over those fares that we collect to the city in hopes that they would set that aside to continue this operation as well once this grant expires. But it is a true pilot project.
I understand. I just want to make sure that the county is not in a position after 3 years that if we don't have the funding, if the funding doesn't come to us through a grant, that we are not locked into running the program. We may want to because it may be effective, but not that we must. Okay. Thank you.
I'm sure that's something that's happened in the past. I can see the commissioner's concerned about that, right? They always come back to us when it's all said and done, and they want us to look like the bad guy, right? So I think there should be some understanding, and I think you should keep records of the fares collected too.
And so let me turn the mic over to Ms. Davidson.
As far as the fares are concerned, Angelina's right. We do collect the fares, however, the city cannot keep those. They have to, for example, if the invoice is $10,000 for November, and we collect $1,000 in fares, we turn that $1,000 over to them, but they only get back $9,000 from the state. They are not allowed to keep those fares for the future. They cannot use any of this revenue. This is totally a non-grant, a non-match grant, and they cannot do anything with the funding except what they're doing. As far as past 3 years, Tanya Surratt's here. We are looking, this is the new thing that DOT is really pushing is microtransit. So we will be looking, if this pilot project over the first year runs with the zone that the city is going to be using, we are in hopes to create this using the grant funding that Colts already receives, that we will spread this countywide. That's the good part. Lee County is small enough that we can do this. It would make probably our, what we call subscription run like a bus route, while everything else countywide would have zones where there would be a van driver placed for everybody to be able to access this on demand. It's very similar to public, to the Lyft and Uber service, is what we'll be
This is
doing.
going to be more vehicles that you guys are going to have?
We would use the vehicles we already have. DOT allocates us 18 vehicles, and they pay all but 10% of that. So
You're
out
saying
in
on
the
top,
county,
this is on top of the Colts vans?
I'm sorry?
Are these, you talking about the Colts vans, or these are vehicles on top of the Colts vans?
No, we are purchasing 3 vans with this grant money that the city of Sanford will reimburse us for. These will be minivans. But once we extend it out into the county, we would use the county vans that DOT already pays for, that Colts runs now. And we replace those every 100,000 miles. DOT replaces them.
So are we increasing the number of vehicles total that we have?
Yes.
From
We
what to
will
what?
currently have 18 that's funded by NCDOT. There's 2 minivans that the county bought several years ago for mostly Medicaid, and then the 3 vans. So we will have a fleet of 23.
I'm sorry, total of 23?
23. And this grant will reimburse everything, including the insurance, the liability.
Storage?
Everything. What?
Storage?
Storage. These vans will probably be at the city police station, the 3. We're going to probably place those there. There is not space at Douglas Drive for more vans.
Thank you.
So that's the plan.
Commissioner Lovick.
Will it still be called Coats? Is it going to be a separate entity, or how is that?
The microtransit will have a whole new brand. It will have a new name. It's not been determined yet. New color scheme. We are actually using this grant money
Come to the mic,
sorry,
please.
the mic. I'm sorry. It'll have a new brand. It'll be a new name. So we'll be running 2 entities within the one Colts operation. But the new vans will have more color to them. We're using this grant money. The drivers will be more professional. They'll be in polo shirts, that sort of thing. So we're really trying to use this opportunity to upgrade it. And one more time here, I mentioned earlier, I think back in January, we are the first county to do this in North Carolina, where the city county will be working together on this grant money. There's other counties that are battling back and forth because of the way the funding has been. So if we can do this, we'll be the first one in the state.
So with the rebranding, we will also be able to cross over if Coats needs some more certain times or vice
Yes,
versa?
it will cross, it'll be called a commingled system, which commingles paratransit and microtransit. So if we can't grab somebody on the microtransit side and there's a Colts van nearby, that Colts van's going to go get them. The same token, if we've got someone that's needing to go to dialysis and they're in that zone and that microtransit driver's available to run that person over to the dialysis center, they'll do that.
So kind of closest to the,
Yes. And the new software package will keep up with all this.
And
That's the next thing.
And we did have that the Colts logo would be somewhere on the van,
Yes.
just so it's not confusing to individuals when we first implemented
Yes,
it.
it's in the memorandum that the Colts logo will be on the new branded vehicle. Yeah, well, anyway,
Somewhere on the van.
yeah, it's going to be on there. We'll put it on there.
great, thank you so much.
Commissioner Vorbeck.
Angelina, I know in January in our meeting, there was a few, I feel like, confusion points. Do you feel better with how everything has worked out now?
Yes.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
So there are some things that we still have to establish, that the Microtransit Advisory Board will be making recommendations to the city council, and the city council will be adopting that as in hours of our operation. Another thing is, the next agenda item is the software bid announcement, is we don't have the ultimate cost of that award. We still have to negotiate, so all of those things are up in the air. But as far as working together and moving forward, I think we are on a good path moving forward. And with Ms. Davidson's expertise, and this is the second major transportation system she'll implement while being here in Lee County, she has the success, and I think the city has come to that realization is that Lee County is the one that has the knowledge and expertise in working with Lee County to implement this.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Reeves.
No question.
Commissioner Sharp.
I think I understand from Commissioner Connect's questions, but we're going to be using our own Colts buses, and we're getting we're getting, explain one more time, I just want to be sure. And there's no bidding process for any of this stuff?
There's no, not for the vans. We're getting
That's
those,
what I'm
the
talking
vans are coming under state contract.
Okay.
The software package did have to be bid, and Angelina can talk a bit more about that in a minute. But we have 18 NCDOT vehicles in our fleet. 14 of those have, no. Tanya, how many have lifts? All but 2? Yeah, 14. 14 have lifts. The others are passenger vehicles. 2 of those are 25-foot with 4-station wheelchairs on them. 2 minivans, and then we are purchasing 2 Plymouth Voyager 7-passenger minivans for microtransit, plus 1 that is ADA accessible. And we're getting those through Otterton Dodge out of High Point under state contract, so they did not have to be bid. Okay. And like I say, they will be able to mingle back and forth as needed. The Colts vans and the new brand will go hand in hand.
Okay,
They'll
thank
work
you.
together.
Any further questions? Do I have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Sanford and the County of Lee and the County of Lee Transit System,
So moved.
as well as the resolution authorizing the MOU? Motion's been made. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to the next item, award software for County of Lee Transit System.
We are asking you for your consideration to award the bid to CTS for our software package. So currently, the software that Colt is using is out of date and will not be able to support a microtransit and paratransit system. And so as I kind of previously mentioned, is we're asking the board to award the contract with CTS and allow us to enter into negotiations to get that ultimate bid and for the chair to sign that once we have the final negotiations for that bid. We did receive 3 proposals, and CTS, the city was a part of that, those demonstrations, as well as the county, as well as our county IT. And so the ultimate decision was to award the bid to CTS.
Questions for Angelina? Commissioner Sharp?
No questions.
Commissioner Reeves?
Did Kyle get involved in looking over this?
Who was on the panel for IT?
Nathan McGee, he was our panelist for from IT, as well as I went over some of the basics with Kyle Edwards.
All right. Move to approve.
Motion been made to approve the purchase award software for the County of Lee Transit System. Continue on with questions. Commissioner Vorbeck?
So is this a 3-year agreement? Just trying to,
So we haven't actually finalized the agreement.
Okay.
As far as the software package, this is for microtransit and paratransit. The one thing that the board may need to know as well is we were considering a software package even prior to microtransit, and NCDOT had already agreed to pay for the software package. But now, with microtransit and it moving along, it will be reimbursed through microtransit versus NCDOT.
Okay, so the reason why I was asking on the agreement and how, because I'm thinking beyond 3 years, if this is something the residents and the county residents and the city residents are used to having, what does this look for long-term longevity type thing? Is this someone you would be willing to enter negotiations regardless of
Correct.
type thing moving forward from year
Yes.
4 beyond?
Yes, because
Okay.
we would need a software program to operate our systems regardless.
Okay,
And so the upfront costs that we're paying now will be different than the ongoing costs.
okay,
Yes,
Okay.
yes, so yes, it would be something that we would utilize regardless of of what the status of microtransits looks like in 3 years.
all right, perfect, thank you.
Commissioner Connect?
Is there monthly fees that you have to pay?
Yes.
What are that?
$36,000 a year for maintenance and training and everything, so it's $36,000 a year. This was the cheapest
Can you do
bid.
it? Math.
And those will be generated by the city.
Always, thank you.
Commissioner Lovick?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Martin?
No, thank you.
We have a motion to award the bid of for software to CTS Software for Colts and authorize the chair to sign the finalized contract. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving right along. Next item on the agenda is the Lee County Fire Advisory Board Fire District Budget Recommendations. Mr. Bullard and Mr. Rozicki. Mr. Bullard's bowing out. Mr. Rozicki is stepping forward, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioner. The Lee County Fire Advisory Board has completed its annual review of the budget request for the Lee County Fire Departments for fiscal year 2025-2026. On April 9th, the Fire Advisory Board met to review and discuss the budget requests from each of the county fire departments. During the budget review, we developed a list of questions and/or concerns related to each department's budget request. The list of questions were then sent to the respective fire chief for each department. On April 30th, the Fire Advisory Board met with the representatives from each of the fire departments to answer questions, discuss concerns, and review the data. After the meeting between the Fire Advisory Board and the representatives from the fire departments, the Fire Advisory Board reviewed the information discussed during the meeting. Based on those recommendations and the budget request submitted, the Fire Advisory Board would like to make the following recommendations. Tramway Fire Department. The Tramway Fire Department is requesting an increase in their budget of $138,972 or 19.9%. The department is increasing salaries, $64,368 for cost of living raise, adding another position to their staffing level and an increase in their part-time positions. The department's goal is to provide full-time staff to offset the volunteer response during normal work hours. Tramway Fire District's tax base grew by 26.7 million. With the growth in the tax base and the utilizing $35,000 of fund balance to cover the increase of their budget request. The Fire Advisory Board is recommending the Tramway Fire Department budget as requested with a new tax rate of 10.7 cents. This is an increase of 2.5 cents from the previous year. The Deep River Fire Department has a budget increase of $31,793 and 25 cents or 5.3%. The fire department has $6,390 increase in staffing. The department's capital and debt funding for this year increased by $17,280.79. This will go towards the purchase of a new engine and a brush truck. The Deep River Fire Department district tax base increased by $57.2 million over the current year. With the growth in the tax base, the increase in budget, and utilizing $70,000 of their available $105,000 fund balance, the fire tax rate will remain at 10.8 cents. The Fire Advisory Board is recommending Deep River Fire Department's budget to the Board of Commissioners as requested. Cape Fear Fire Department budget request shows the increase of $109,564.00, or 13.4%. The department is increasing their cost of personnel by $43,000. The department is requesting an increase of $9,000 to capital and debt funding. Cape Fear Fire District's tax base increased by $78.6 million over the current year. The Cape Fear Fire Department has been contracted to provide fire protection to the Clearwater Forest Fire District. Clearwater Fire District's tax base increased by $1.2 million. The combined tax base for Cape Fear Fire District and Clearwater Fire District is $710,862,997. Using $40,000 of the available fund balance, the projected fire tax for Cape Fear Fire District and Clearwater Fire District will increase to 14.4 cents. This is an increase of 1.7 cents from last year. The Fire Board is recommending the Cape Fear Fire Department budget as requested with an increased fire tax rate to 14.4 cents. Northview Fire Department has requested a budget increase of $26,049, or 2.1%. Northview has had several decreases in their budget. The decrease in retirement and health insurance is $60,000. This comes from the difficulty hiring full-time staff. The department has decided to staff with part-time personnel, increasing the salary for personnel by $72,668. Northview Fire District tax base decreased $4.9 million. With the reduction in the tax base, utilizing $40,000 of their fund balance, the tax rate would increase 2 5/5 of a penny, going from 9 cents to 9.4 cents. The Fire Advisory Board is recommending the Northview Fire Department budget as required and increasing the fire tax to 9.4 cents. Lemon Springs Fire Department has requested a budget increase of $100,600, or 17.7%. The fire department is increasing salaries by $65,000 for cost of living raise and an increase in man hours, adding a weekend position. The department is requesting an increase of $15,000 in capital and debt funding. Lemon Springs Fire District tax base grew by about $35.7 million. With utilizing the department's projected fund balance of $79,000, the growth in the tax base and the requested budget, the tax rate for Lemon Springs Fire District would increase to 10.3 cents from last year's 10.2 cents. The Fire Advisory Board is recommending the Lemon Springs Fire Department budget as requested and increasing the tax rate up to 10.3 cents. Carolina Trace Fire Department is requesting a $125,112.40, or 15.3% increase in their budget. The increase in their budget was a result of an $88,984 increase in salaries, providing 12-hour shifts during the day and night, giving 24-hour coverage. Carolina Trace Fire District's tax base grew by $25.8 million. The department's projected fund balance is $25,000. With the increase of their tax base, along with their use of the $25,000 in fund balance, their tax rate will increase to 14.1 cents. This is a difference of 1.3 cents from last year's rate of 12.8 cents. The Fire Advisory Board is recommending Carolina Trace Fire Department budget as requested with a tax rate of 14.1 cents. Pocket Fire Department is requesting a budget increase of $35,024.22, or 5.6%. $23,383 of those funds are going towards staffing and cost of living expense. Pocket Fire Department has a growth in the tax rate base of about $12 million. With the growth of their tax base and the using $50,000 of their fund balance for the projected rate will remain neutral at 15 cents. The Fire Advisory Board is recommending the Pocket Fire Department's budget as requested, keeping their tax rate at 15 cents. The cost of personnel, equipment replacement, truck replacement, along with operating costs continue to increase. Volunteerism throughout the state continues to decrease. The fire departments in Lee County are taking steps to mitigate these issues with paid staff. ensuring that there will always be someone to answer the call for service. The Lee County Fire Advisory Board would like to take this opportunity to thank the departments for their efforts and their continued service to the citizens of Lee County, as well as the commissioners for making sure the fire departments have the necessary tools to do their job. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Rozicki. Starting with questions, Commissioner Martin. And just for are the chiefs available if there's anything specific to their departments?
There are a few chiefs here, sir,
Okay.
yes.
I'm the newest one on the board here, and so I'm not
ma'am.
privy to some of the information, the recommendations from a service that you had, I think, last year. But my understanding is that there were some recommendations made from a consultation that you did last year. Were those recommendations implemented? Were there any changes from that recommendation that have been implemented into this year's plans?
I don't believe so. There were? Come on.
So staffing was one of the biggest recommendations that company provided, and every department has upped their staffing levels to more close of a standard.
Has there been any recommendations for more of a cohesive, rather than having all these separate entities? Has there been talk of combining or working together more? Or are we just in the place right now that this is where we're at?
I mean, there's discussion of that, but all the departments are working well with the others the best they can, the best that opportunities present them.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Levick?
No questions, just a comment. As a past firefighter and started out volunteer, thank you, each one of you, for what you do. It's a thankless job, and it's amazing what equipment prices from what they used to be to they are now. So you guys are the best deal we got going. Thank you.
Commissioner Connect?
How's the volunteerism going? I know it's always been, is it still on steady decline? Have we leveled out, or, do you know? I mean, but tell us, please.
It's still hard.
Yeah. Does it mean it's getting harder each year?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Vorbeck, questions?
Again, thank you guys for what you do. So I guess my questions is not necessarily, so I'm kind of dissecting some of the budget presentations. Cape Fear says there's a member pay per call at about $14K. Can you explain what that would be?
So this is a tool that we're going to use as a recruitment
That's what I wondered.
or
Okay.
retention effort, I should say, to keep the volunteers more active. Just to help reimburse with the time they miss from work and the fuel they spend driving back and forth.
So it's more of a volunteer basis?
Yes,
Okay,
that
okay.
is all
That's what
that
I
is
wondered.
applicable
I
for the
wondered about that
program
one.
is my
Okay.
volunteers.
Okay, and then that, the NC Fire and Rescue dues, I see are coming up on some of them, but not on all of the departments.
So some departments aren't members of the Rescue Association.
Mhm.
Some are, and that's why you see that in some of the budget outlines and some you do not.
Okay, all right, that's all the questions I have right now, thank you.
Commissioner Reeves?
Is it getting any more costly for the volunteers to participate?
Again, sir? I'm sorry.
I beg your pardon?
It's not really more costly for the volunteers to participate. It's just the way the economics are now and spending time with the families and the kids playing ball. That is what the volunteerism has just dwindled down to almost nothing. That's why you see all of these departments continually moving towards more paid staff. But as far as a cost for the member, no, sir, it's not been an increase
Thank you.
for that member.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yeah, I wish as everyone does, I wish our volunteers, would have more volunteers, but I don't mind paying for part-time staff, because I want somebody to answer that call. And thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you. And this is the recommendations from the Lee County Fire Advisory Board. Our next meeting, we will plan on a public hearing on their budgets, correct?
You can either choose to do it at the June 2nd board meeting, or you can wait until June 16th when you have the public hearing on the county budget. It's up to the board.
Any desire of the board to have it on the 2nd of June?
I think just have everyone together on the 16th, right?
Is that a motion?
Yes, ma'am, or yes, sir.
Motion to approve the to hold the public hearing on the
There we go.
fire budgets on the 16th of June. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll see you all on the 16th of June. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Please be safe. Wear your seatbelts and no speeding. And no turning any trucks over. Next item on the agenda is a resolution in opposition of House Bill 765. Yes, I didn't see it here. Do we have a copy of it? It is here.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
Yes.
Thank you. I didn't even look at it. I apologize. Well, we have a resolution opposing House Bill 765, whereas North Carolina statutes outlined in 160D provide counties and municipalities with the autonomy to implement land use regulations, to maintain land compatibility, achieve desired density, and ensure orderly and systematic growth and developments in conjunction with available infrastructure and service provision capacity. And whereas local governments have historically been the final guardian of the rights of the people, and local government zoning has been made in-person attendance and comment easier for proponents and opponents of zoning decisions, thereby allowing citizens to participate in matters that affect them through the public hearing process. And whereas House Bill 765, introduced into the 2025 session of North Carolina General Assembly, seeks to reform local government development regulations in ways that may significantly curtail local autonomy. And whereas provisions with House Bill 765 include mandating minimum residential densities, potentially leading to overdevelopment without adequate local input, restricting local governments from enacting zoning regulations is more stringent than state laws, thereby limiting the ability to address unique local challenges, allowing civil lawsuits against local officials for development decisions which could deter public service and compliance governance, imposing strict timeliness on zoning and site plan decisions, potentially undermining through review processes, altering the establishment process for historic districts, potentially jeopardizing local heritage preservation efforts. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lee County Board of Commissioners formally oppose House Bill 765 and urges the North Carolina General Assembly to reconsider the bill's provisions in favor of legislation that respects local authority, reduces regulatory burdens, and promotes flexible, community-driven development strategies, and be it further resolved that the Lee County Board of Commissioners encourage state lawmakers to work collaboratively with local governments to craft policies that support responsible growth, administrative efficiency, and long-term sustainability across North Carolina. Furthermore, Lee County Board of Commissioners encourages its citizens, businesses, property owners, and municipalities in communicating with their representatives and sharing their concerns regarding House Bill 765. And similar proposed legislation and a copy of this resolution to be distributed to Senator Phil Berger, Senator Sidney Batch, Speaker of the House Destin Hall, Democrat House Leader Robert T. Reeves II, Senator Jim Bergen, and Representative John Sauls. Adopted this 19th of May, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution in opposition to House Bill 765?
So moved.
Motion's been made to adopt the resolution in opposition to House Bill 765. Any further discussion?
In favor of it, that's a lot of words. Are you able to summarize what the bill is, the idea behind the bill, I guess, is why they believe it's a good idea?
Yeah, House Bill 765 was brought by two legislative representatives who are developers out of Mecklenburg County, and they've been at war with Mecklenburg County zoning ordinances, and they've been able to manipulate the writing of this bill and promoting it through the legislature in order to remove from local control the ability to control the development in your community.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on, we have the manager's report, monthly financial reports by our interim financial director. How interim are you?
How many hats do you have?
3.
I haven't asked
Hopefully
the
very
manager
interim.
this lately, but how interim is the financial?
We will be interviewing this week 4 candidates, I think it dropped to 4, and see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
So hopefully short term.
You're wearing them very well.
Tonight, you have the April 2025 monthly financial report for your review. Ad valorem tax collections are 101.1% of the adopted budget. The target for expenditures for the end of April is 83%. A few departments remain over this target due to the inclusion of encumbrances, but if you remove those encumbrances, we have no departments that are over budget at this time. The February 2025 sales tax distribution report is also attached for your review. As a reminder, these reports run 3 months behind, and we are 0.31% ahead of sales tax collections for the same period last fiscal year.
Questions for the interim financial director, Commissioner Sharp?
No questions, but thank you for wearing 2 hats and doing all you're doing.
3.
3. I thought I heard 2. I can't hear or see, so.
Well, it's more like 2.5.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Reeves.
Thank you for being with us.
Commissioner Vorbeck.
What was January's sales tax? Do we know the percentage? What was that?
I think if I remember correctly, it was 0.83% above the time for the prior fiscal year.
So December was a loss, and then we're close to neutral on January and February, right?
I don't think December, was it December a loss? I don't
It was,
recall
the
it
first
being
time in
down
like
from
It
prior
was.
year.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, just,
But it was, I'm almost positive 0.83%
okay, yeah.
to 8.2.
All right. Let's, yep, so keep our expenditures in the county, please.
Commissioner Connect.
Thank you.
Commissioner Levick.
No questions.
Commissioner Martin.
No, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next item is the county manager's monthly report.
Okay. As far as ongoing project goes, the Lee County Athletic Park, field construction, the field builder has started laying sod on the fields, beginning with the multipurpose fields, specifically field number 8, and then diamond fields to follow. Irrigation has been tested, and the contractor is calibrating to support the sod installation. On site construction, the concrete installation continues with finishing out the remaining sidewalks, curbs, and bench pads. The playground subcontractor is installing the playground equipment. Asphalt final surface layer for the site is planned for June 2025, just before project completion. Building construction, finishing work continues on the buildings with interior and exterior details such as painting, flooring, trim, and fixtures. A couple of recent change orders that we've had to deal with. There was a credit for removal of 2 pedestal signs, $6,296, and a credit for fencing gate removal, $1,200. So those were nice to see. Library building project, construction continues with a focus on both the building and site work. As far as the building, the steel framing work continues with rework of welding connections identified by the third-party testing firm that we hired. Roof decking has been installed and framing interior and exterior is in process. Sanford Contractors is working to complete the building dry-in by May 30th. Site, the focus is on completing curb and gutter as well as asphalt paving on the main parking lot and driveway. Work is in progress to complete the water and power connections for the site. The meter vault has been installed and staff and the contractor are currently working with Tri-River to complete the installation. Discrepancies related to the meter size, construction drawing changes, and Tri-River installation requirements have been resolved. Power, Duke Energy requires tree clearing along the easement area for the power line and pull box installation to connect permanent power to the site. The total cost is $13,412.45 per Duke Energy's request changes. The cost is covered by project allowances. No additional funds will be required. Recent change orders for the library. The following change orders were covered either by the contractor's contingency or existing project allowances that required no net change to the contract price. And you can see those there. We had to make a couple changes to total about $59,000, but no cost to us beyond the contract cost. And those continue on the back side of that page. The historic courthouse demolition has been completed on the majority of the roof, and the new copper roof installation has started. Potential change orders have been discovered through demolition and require approval to move forward on the project. The North Carolina State Historic Preservation Office reviews and approves each change request before presenting to Lee County for approval. All change orders identified to this point are under the threshold of the county manager's approval. You can see the list there of potential change orders. Horton Park parking lot improvements. Construction is wrapping up with the completion of a retaining wall and asphalt paving/stripping. A fire hydrant on site needs to be raised up after construction to meet Tri-River's standard height requirement. The contractor has provided a cost of $2,784 for the fire hydrant change. The project is on track to be completed before the pool opens to the public for the 2025 season. The remaining items, as mentioned, include striping on the parking lot and completion of the punch list. At the last board meeting, I was asked to identify septic obstacles at Lee County schools to accommodate expansion at existing schools and to draft letters to the legislature to find funding for sewer expansion. There are 3 schools on septic systems: Deep River, Greenwood, and Tramway Elementary Schools. However, there are other obstacles per the attached email from Superintendent Dr. Chris Dossenbach to be considered in expanding schools. I wanted to provide all this information to you, to the board, prior to drafting any letters. So I would be looking for direction from the board if you still want letters drafted and to whom. In addition to that, we had regionally scheduled a budget work session on May 30th. However, due to the delay in the budget presentation, staff needs to know what you would like to do as far as a work session goes. You can still hold it on May 30th prior to receiving the budget, schedule another date, or not hold any work sessions. And if you know at this time who you would like to come, if you do schedule a work session, or if not, you can decide that after it's presented to you. But we do need to try to secure a site if you want to hold a work session. So we need to know a date, at least a date. That's it, other than you can see the reports attached and you see the list of upcoming events. I will add, too, that we have a signing tomorrow scheduled at 11:30 at the Buggy Factory for the signing of the MOU between us and the city and Colts for the microtransit system. But I would like to have information as to if you want me to follow up any more on the Lee County school situation and the budget work session.
Commissioner Connect, you were the one that requested the letter. In light of the response from the superintendent, do you feel that we need to move forward?
I still think you should, because that's going to take time anyways. A lot of things in the superintendent's things he's talking, issues that I think have a potentially be overcome. I didn't say they were going to be easy, but according to cost of building a new school compared to expanding even cafeteria space, I think it just makes things more feasible.
Any further discussion on moving forward with addressing the 3 schools with septic systems? in light of the superintendent's response to the expansion?
I mean, the idea is to get financial help for them to expand? Is
Potential,
that the idea?
potentially. I think there's still room that you can put two buildings. You don't have to have one building, but two complete buildings. Maybe separate grades from 1 to 3 to 4 to 5 in one building. But at least that way you can look at it better, I think. The land doesn't allow it because most of the land is septic. And the state's already funded sewer for a school in Lee County. I don't see why they couldn't help us fund public schools in Lee County as well.
Any further discussion?
What is the superintendent's position on the issue?
There's not
I
space
think
enough.
well, yeah, I think the letter came out, I think the issues were that, yeah, maybe the cafeteria isn't adequate, but if I remember correctly, most of these schools were built to be expandable. But now, as we hear, it's too hard to be. Well, maybe we should call the architects back up and ask them what their plans, you said it was expandable, and now we're telling you it's not. Who's right, who's
East and
wrong?
west
But,
were built to be expandable.
yeah. But if you don't have the available space, it's a non-starter. I think just maintenance issues too on septic fields and, well, you know, what kids flush and I think if you have public sewer may make that even easier as well.
Well, on the superintendent list, the cafeteria being an issue, gymnasiums, restrooms and hallways, parking and drop-off zones, utility and mechanical issues such as HVAC, electrical systems may not be able to support additional classrooms or a higher building load. So it sounds more to me as it needs a feasibility study too. What's the max capacity?
Well, everything
know.
can be increased. Your cafeteria can be increased. You can have a cafeteria on the second building. I mean, there's feasibility, but it's not even can't even think about it if you don't able to have a room.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying, like, it sounds more of a feasibility-ish than it is, can you build a septic, but if your hallways don't fit it, like, I think it's beyond that, but yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, I think there's also another avenue to also explore, is what the feasibility of each of these spaces. Just thought.
Question, I don't have an answer or a knowledge of it. The Jonesboro site, is that on public or city sewer?
I do not know the answer to that. He did not provide any information on that site.
Just curious. It's a good question to ask. Any further discussion on the letter to the legislators?
I think I'd like to consider it. I mean, it may not be feasible, but I think it makes maintenance a lot easier for us too in those particular areas. And I don't think it ever hurts to ask. They've done it one place, I don't see why they can't do it others.
I mean, I do know that sewer runs down Southern Horner Boulevard because of all the commercial developments down there. Anyway, moving on. Any further discussion?
Well, at the Jonesboro site, you're talking the old Lee Elementary. I'd be looking at the car units, the car dealers out front there and see if they're on city sewer.
They are. We had an episode with the quick oil change. I had a complaint about a sewer smell, and when they went out there to determine, the contractor that built the quick oil change never hooked up to the sewer, so raw sewage was going into the ground and bubbling up to the surface.
Okay.
I don't know who the contractor was, but we'll leave it at that. They fixed it.
I will check on the Jonesboro site, though, and let you get an answer to you.
So can we just draft a letter in formal?
I will, to make it effective, I will probably need to contact the city and see if they can give me approximate cost of what it would take. Otherwise,
Understand.
it's a moot point. But once I get that information, I'll work on drafting a letter.
Understand. The potential of having a work session after the budget presentation on the 2nd, any special requests? During the day, evening,
My preference would be afternoon.
say
Like,
again?
my preference would be afternoons,
Afternoon?
beginning at 3 or 4, or even 5.
Okay. We have the 9th, the 10th. My calendar's got the 9th, the 10th, Thursday, the 5th, the 12th and the 13th are open.
Any of those evenings?
The 9th or 10th works. June 5th, John Sauls is getting recognized at the Central Carolina for his, he's not gonna, it'll be fine. John Sauls, do not listen to this.
9,
9/10 is the Advocacy Day dinner, if anybody is
That's
planning
right.
on attending that.
I don't have that on my monthly calendar. Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you for catching that.
Got some busy people.
You should see my calendar.
Yeah, making personal money.
The afternoon of the 9th, evening of the 9th, going once, going twice.
What day is that on?
It's a Monday. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think basketball season's over, isn't it?
I mean, yesterday's game.
We got hockey.
Do you want to start at 3, 4, 5, 6?
What works best for those working? Any preference? 4? Unless there's a preference.
I'm good with any time. I just need to know when to be there.
Yeah. Still working on the evening? Andre? 6 o'clock?
Whatever works for the majority of the board's fine.
Okay.
You want to do 4 or?
4 o'clock on the 9th, plan on workshop?
We'll
Do
let
we
you know
have-
the location as soon as we can book something.
Okay.
Commissioner Reeves?
I would, if you're gonna start that early, in order to, I think, to try and accommodate the vice chair, I would consider doing the lightweight stuff on the front end very early, and the heavyweight near the end of the evening. Things that require the full board's attention ought to be done later in the evening.
Define lightweight.
That may be hard to determine until you hear my budget presentation.
Okay.
Once you hear that, then I'll be asking you who you would like to bring in.
And once I hear it, I'll be able to tell you what lightweight and heavyweight is.
Exactly, that's what I need to know then.
All
So
right.
we'll set that, we'll set the schedule once y'all have heard it and once you tell me who you want to hear from.
All right,
Let's set it for the 9th at 4 o'clock.
yeah.
Thank you. The other thing I do want to mention is we have the NCACC conference in August in Greenville. There is early bird registration going on, so if you have an interest in going, will you please let Jennifer or I know, as Haley will not be here for a few days. So if you can let us know so we can go ahead and try to get hotel arrangements and our early bird registration done.
I'll be commuting and I will make myself available for Friday and Saturday.
Thank you. Kurt. I believe that's all I had.
All right, next item on the agenda is Commissioners' comments, starting with Commissioner.
Wait, I thought you were gonna, the manager's gonna take questions.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I'm
you're
sorry.
right.
We'd like
She-
to.
Well, she asked us to go. Questions for the manager, start with Commissioner Sharp.
I don't have any.
Commissioner Reeves.
Well, I have a comment and a concern. Horton Park situation, the parking area and the sidewalk and all, looks fantastic. Staff has done a heck of a job. And be that as it may, you can't satisfy everyone. I've been at this long enough to know. But what I would suggest we do is consider a caution light or signage indicating when you change the parking arrangements up there, people are gonna make their own parking spaces to keep from walking so much. It's better to have some notice ahead of time before they get to the top of the park, coming in both directions. Because I can guarantee you, they're gonna park on the side of the road, they're gonna block other people in, it's gonna happen.
I will see if we can get a sign. I think emergency management may have a sign that we could use, a light-up sign.
We need to look into the feasibility of that, since that's a DOT road. We'll need to consult
Right.
with them to
That's
find out.
right. DOT,
Yes.
thank you.
We'll find that out.
Is that DOT or city?
That's a DOT road.
It's gonna be a combination of both, I guarantee you. The police need to be keenly aware of it, all law enforcement, but certainly DOT has to be aware.
Commissioner Vorbeck, questions for the manager?
No, no
Commissioner-
questions, thank you.
Commissioner Connect? Commissioner Lovick?
None, thank you.
Commissioner Martin?
No questions, just something to consider. I noticed on the Davenport agreement that we haven't looked into that in the last 10 years. Let me rephrase that I haven't seen any comparatives in the last 10 years, so I'm just throwing out maybe next year we look at some different, get some comparable rates and see, what else there might be out there. Other than that, I noted on the firemen's pay, I noticed their pay, and I just thought, but that's a lot of work that they do and put themselves in danger for, it's almost a sacrifice of a job. So just a note to say, in general, I heard us all saying, thank you, but we have a bunch of great people willing to put themselves in harm's way here in Lee County. So no other comments.
I do have one question for the manager regarding the pool opening at Horton Park and as well as O.T. Sloan. What is the date on that?
Jennifer?
Coming up. We'll be opening both with Memorial Day weekend coming up.
What time?
I don't have those exact times, but I can get those and send them to the board in the morning.
Okay, thank you. All right, now it's time for commissioner comments. Commissioner Martin.
Those are mine.
Commissioner Lovick.
Again, thank you, staff, the many hats you wear, the many ones that didn't come up to the podium that wear different hats. Thank you so much for everything you do for the county. Good catch on the third party on the welding. I heard that in the report, so, and I'm just very pleased to hear on the no extra charge on the prices on our county projects, so that's always good news. So, thank you.
Commissioner Connect.
I just saw where Mississippi is heading toward a tax-free income state. I think we were supposed to be heading to that direction ourselves in this state. And I just say, tell everybody, call your representative and ask them what the holdup is. I think we've been on that road for a few years now, and we haven't seemed to have gotten to it. So maybe it'll call us a refresher, a reminder. That'd be good. Thank you.
Commissioner Vorbeck.
It's the last week of school for Lee County Schools. They end on Friday, so it'll be a good week for them they finish their EOGs. And then I know for Parks and Rec, there's quite a few teams that this is their last week of playing ball, and finish strong.
Commissioner Reeves.
No comment, I'll just.
Commissioner Sharp.
I don't have anything other than I hope everyone has a great upcoming holiday weekend. Be careful.
Yes,
Have a good time.
and on that note, I would like to remind everyone that there will be a Memorial Day ceremony held at the North Carolina Veterans Memorial at 10:30. Former Chairman Charlie Parks, he's a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, will be the guest speaker.
Ex-commissioner too?
That's what I said, former Chairman Charlie Parks. Also, and I hate to mention, I'm not going to hate to mention, I'm just going to say that we need to extend our prayers and concerns to those in the midsection of the country that unfortunately were devastated by tornadoes, and a horrible number of lives were taken, as well as those who were injured and property destroyed. The videos are horrendous to see. But just as a reminder, we're in that season, and we do have alerts, and we had one on Saturday morning, and of course the storm went by us to the north and never even touched us. And then the wife and I went to the farmer's market and found out, yep, they take the storm warning seriously and did not open the farmer's market. So please pay attention to the alerts. It's definitely a dangerous time. And on that note, we noticed all of the attendees didn't show today. We had enough chairs for everybody, but I want to say thank you to the staff for maintaining the commitment to the County of Lee, and we appreciate you being here. Without further ado, if I could get a motion to adjourn. Motion's been made to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We're now adjourned. Please drive safely, wear your seatbelts, and no speeding.